This part is really special, and I guess a little bit for specialists or enthusiasts, call it as you like. But it could be that you really love it. So what's a disadvantage of pivot tables? The disadvantage is the pivot table is kind of dynamic. For example, if you update this data here every month, this inconsistency sheet, and then you go to your pivot table and you update it here, right click, refresh data, the structure of the pivot table could change. If you have no 9 GB in this month, you will not have a 9 GB in 0 here. It will simply disappear and the rest will move a little bit to the right. So usually that is not a problem, but sometimes it is in a reporting situation. If your boss wants something like items sold, let's say January, you had this in this format, January, then February, March, and then let's say 4 GB, 5 GB, 9 GB, and 18 GB. And he wants it in exactly this structure because maybe he has to copy paste it somewhere else into another sheet, another report. Then of course you can implement that with a pivot table. You can also sort these fields if it's necessary. Of course, this is not right sorted, so you have your first problem here because Excel puts the 18 before the 4. And the other thing is, again, if you update it somehow, or if you get an updated data and you have by some coincidence no 9 GB, this will not be 0, it will just disappear. Or if you have a problem with a month is missing, the whole month will disappear. And in this structure, this is a fixed structure and this is a dynamic structure here. So what I love to do is always I link it. Chances are very high that you have this function implemented in your Excel version. Usually it's like this. You type equals, then you go into some field you want to see here. So in this, it's 4 GB combined with January. So it's like this. And then a big formula is appearing. Unfortunately, in my Excel version, that's not possible. So I have the newest version here. So it's just a link to the cell, but you can actually link it to the data, and that's really sweet. And I show it to you how it's called get pivot data. And the first 2 arguments are strange and the rest is easy. The first argument is actually the text here of this cell. I cannot link the cell. For some reason, I have to type the text as a string. So I text sum of items sold. So wasn't so hard, but it's strange. Next argument, that is actually the link to the cell. So we do that with the dollar signs because it's important to be fixed. That is the reference to tell Excel where's the table. It's not here, it's not A1. You could imagine, or you could figure A1 because you think that's where it begins, but that's only the filter. The table is A3, okay? And now comes a pair of arguments. It's always a pair. So, for example, first name of the field and then what's the expected value. We have the field is called RAM, if you remember, and the value is 4 GB. I close it and I hit enter. You see something happened. 188, 188. This is the 188. But we forgot something. We wanted it in combination with the January. How was again the name of that field? We see it here, month. I add another pair, new argument. It was called month. And now we can link it here already. That's what I wanted to show you next. And in the case of date, it's always good linking, because if I type this here, it's not working because it's a different format for the date. Date as a string, date as a number. Maybe you know it, it's nasty. So I link it, press enter, working. Now I have an actual link, and that's really nice. And now as I've done it, I can replace this 4 GB string by this. So now I have this point here, this cutting point as a formula and as retrieving the data from the pivot table. Now I want to drag this formula here to left, to the right and to the bottom. I have to take into consideration, if I go left, I want to have this K fixed, the date, because the date is important. So I do the $sign before the head of the K. So I can go left, right now. See? It's working. 69, 69. But I cannot go down, because when I go down, I lose this reference here, but it's supposed to be a headline. So if I want to go up, down, I need this 5 here fixed, line 5, because this is in line 5. Here I need a $sign before the 5. That's how I do it. So now I have both of them fixed in their way, not completely, but in the one I have the column fixed, and in the other I have the row fixed. Now I can do it, drag it right, and I can drag it down. Now I have, you see, I have all these numbers. 21 was 4 GB. Now I have my fixed reporting structure, and if something changes here, the boss asks you, right? You can just do this down and you add 1 month. April, working. June, May, 15, yes. May, working. June, working, and so on. And now I can do, because we have no data for August, no problem. I can already have that here. And then when the data of August comes in, I can copy it. I can do refresh here, right click refresh, and then it will instantly appear in the structure I need. 2 more tricks. Of course, you don't like this ref thing. You want to have a 0 here, or maybe a blank. Feel free to embrace this by our if error function we already learned. If error, whole thing as an argument, second argument 0 or blank. Right and down. This is nice. And the second thing you must know, this can only show numbers that are visible in this table. I can, for example, exchange the RAM and the month. I can also do this here, because I still have all combinations here. But for example, if I remove the months, nothing is working, because it can only show values that are visible. I cannot work with CPU here, because the CPU is not here. So you have to try it. You know, if I, for example, if I add the CPU here, you will see if it still works or not. It depends if this point here, this 25, if it's in your one of the infinite combinations that are possible here, if it's still visible or not. Do it once, do it right, and you will have lots of fun with that formula. Okay? Please do it. Try it at home.